On this episode, we review Universal Orlando's Halloween Horror Nights. Today's September 17th, 2024, and this is episode 703 of the Main Street Magic Podcast.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts, Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Main Street Magic. I'm your host, Jeremy Stein, and as always, I'm joined by my lovely wife, Rhonda.
Hey guys! Make sure you check us out on the web at mainstmagic.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at mainstmagic, and on TikTok at MSM Podcast.
If you want to be part of the community and join the conversation, in addition to live streams from the parks and our weekly live show, head to Facebook and search for the Main Street Magic community and ask to join.
And don't forget to hit the subscribe button so you can get brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday.
Planning a trip to Disneyland or Walt Disney World can be overwhelming and at times just downright frustrating. But don't worry, because Mouse Dining removes the frustration of booking Disney dining reservations, alerting you when they spot availability for your desired restaurant, date, meal, and time. Visit msmfriends.com to use this free service. Whether you're ready for your next Disney Destinations vacation or your first, our trusted partner, MEI-Travel, will handle the planning so you can focus on the memories. They offer free vacation planning services and have nearly 20 years of experience creating memorable Disney vacations. Visit mainstmagic.com/travel for a fee-free, no-obligation quote today.
So happy birthday, Jeremy.
Thank you.
Did you enjoy your birthday weekend?
Yeah, very much so. I had a really long birthday weekend celebration.
Yeah.
That started this past Wednesday. I went down with Lacey after school. We saw 21 Pilots at the Kia Center. Stayed the night at Dockside, and then you and Kaylin, Rob, Tina, a bunch of
Children.
their kids.
All the children.
Yeah, all came down. We did Halloween Horror Nights that Thursday night, which we're going to talk about today.
Yeah.
And then, another night at Dockside. Came home, relaxed Friday. We went to bed super early Friday night.
We did.
But yeah, had a nice breakfast with the family Saturday morning. We went out with friends in St. Augustine downtown last night. And Sunday now, recording about this, and then going to do a couple things around the house and relax.
Yeah.
Right?
Well, good.
Get ready for another week.
Sounds like a good week.
It was very good.
We are going to talk about Halloween Horror Nights today. So let's do that.
Let's talk about Halloween Horror Nights. So this actually started back in 91. This was a single weekend called Fright Nights, and it ended up being popular enough to turn into the Halloween Horror Nights that we know today. But back then, it was made to fill a lower season in the parks, and it helped save Universal in those early years financially. And now this was just the 33rd. So
that's crazy.
I mean, this thing
I remember going back with my brother years ago, and I'd have to ask him. I graduated in 97, so I know it was, I believe, after that. I just don't remember.
But probably in the first decade. You probably went to one of the first 10.
Yes, I did.
Wow. What do you remember of it compared
Probably.
to what it's like now?
I think I'm trying to remember how old I was, because I don't think we could drink. I don't remember that, but I feel like I remember there was so many, like, you could buy shots everywhere. Like, they were walking around with shots. And it was different.
Yes.
And there was drinks like all around for sure.
What do you remember houses?
No,
Back
but
then,
I do remember the chainsaw, and they would like chase you for reals.
Yeah.
Like for real.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of like they do today. Just like one guy was following Kaylin this past weekend, which was really kind of funny. But yeah. I remember that specifically. I don't remember how many houses we went in. Again, I'd have to see if my brother remembered it all. But we drove home that night.
Oh, eek.
Yeah. That was rough.
Yeah.
So
I bet. Well, we did not. We stayed at Dockside. Yeah, I mean, highly recommend staying at one of the Universal resorts there.
Absolutely.
Especially for this, because they're going to be running the transportation.
Yep.
So, at 2 a.m., which we pretty much almost made it to. When you're still able to just get on a bus, head back to your resort, that is incredible. This is select nights, September, October, all the way up till November 3rd. You can go out to their website, of course, and get all those exact dates. And then this is going to start at 6:30 p.m. Depending on the night, it's going to run till either 1 a.m. or 2 a.m.
And we were lucky enough for it to run to 2 a.m.
2
for ours.
Yeah, on this Thursday night that we did ours. So this is, when you look at a lot of these types of events, especially over at Disney, a lot of times trying to figure out the value comes down to that length of time. It's not so much what's available. I think that all these paid events are always worth it for what's available to you. They're not always worth it with what you can accomplish in the time given. When some of these things are 3 hours long, you can go, man, this is great. There's a ton to do here. I can't do it in 3 hours. This thing runs 6-7 hours. I mean, it's a full day at the parks, just at night. So I think, first of all, and we'll talk about the pricing a little bit here because it's expensive. So let's talk about that. Okay. Single night tickets, right? These start at $82.99 online. You want to get them online early because the price goes up at the gate. And of course, that's going to just increase depending on the date.
Yes.
That's going to go up. That's on the low end. It's going to go up as you get closer to Halloween. Express Pass. That allows visitors to skip the line at each of the haunted houses once, but it's also good at any of the rides that are open.
It is. And if you stay at a luxury, what are the top? Yeah, what are they called?
The signature, I think, is now how they relabel them, categorize
You
them.
cannot use your Express Pass for Halloween Horror Nights.
Very good to know.
Yes, because I've had a client actually ask that, and I'm like, nope.
Yeah, it is separate. So if you had a day ticket and you were going to the parks during the
100%.
day, that Express Pass is great, but you would have to purchase a separate one if you wanted it at Horror Nights. There is the Frequent Fear Pass. This provides access to up to 30 event nights. This starts at $239.99 a person, and then you've got the Premium Scream Night. That was $350, and that was that special one night event that they did leading up to it that they tried this year. That was basically like a full VIP. It was the night before everything officially started. So we'll do is kind of, and we'll preface this by, this was really off night for us. This was not a work night. This really was not focused. We did not have the phones out a lot. We did not do much planning. We really didn't do any planning. We didn't really do any research.
But let's start by also talking about how in the past and when we did do more work for this, we always had our Premier Pass, which you get a ticket included.
Yes.
This year we did not. So we did not only buy each ticket for me, you, and our children, which was like $80, whatever a person.
Yeah, $83 each.
And then we went ahead and bought the Express Pass because Rob and Tina were, and we did not last year. Now, Jeremy and I saw about 8 houses, and it was fantastic. But we were by ourselves pretty much the whole time because everybody else had Express Pass. And we saved the money and, of course, bought it for our children. And then they just went off. Well, this year we made the decision to go ahead and buy the the Express Pass because we couldn't get in early with our Premier Pass.
Right.
And stay in the Stay and Scream where we had in the past.
Right.
So this was us pretending that we've never really gone to Universal and going in and being there pretty much. I'm trying to remember. It was a little before 6:30 because we started out leaving early. A little before 6:30, they were letting everybody in. Then we just started going. So we didn't have a plan, but
we didn't. And
this worked out really well.
Yeah, and we'll talk some about that. I mean, as we go through these, and as Rhonda just said, one of the first tips for this is arrive early. If you are an annual pass holder, if you purchase that extra Stay and Scream, which is usually like $40, that gets you in a lot earlier in these certain Stay and Scream zones. Especially if you do that Stay and Scream zone in New York, you can usually knock out 2 to 3 houses that are right there very, very quickly.
And stay and scream just means like nobody's trying to scare you.
No.
You're literally just standing,
it's
holding.
a queue. It's just a queue.
And a queue.
Waiting for a queue. It's like an
Pretty
early
much.
entry. And what I was saying by like we didn't have a plan is we're not going to take this episode to give you a plan. As in, like, you know, well, you should get to the Stay and Scream at exactly this time,
Right.
at this Stay and Scream, and then you should do this house followed by this house. Then you take a break for this. Like, we're not going to lay out the whole thing. We're going to give you kind of our experience and what we were able to do. So arriving early is key. Even if you don't, like, we didn't have any sort of early access with the pass holder
Correct.
or buying Stay and Scream. You know, you can get in. It starts at 6:30. You can get in before that. And at least start, you know, getting your bearings of kind of what you want to do and where you want to go. So just get there early. That pretty much rings true for most any events. You can consider one of those multi-night tickets. Now, that's very good for pass holders. That would be good for us. I'll be honest, we might look at something like that next year. You know, if we weren't so busy already this holiday season, I could see us going back. And doing another night.
Because we did.
Even if you do that with the frequent fear pass, you're looking at going 3 times and breaking even throughout the entire, you know, September, October, and November.
But this is you standing in also the standby lines. Correct?
Yeah, correct. But I'm saying that's where, you know, we think, all right, we already know that we're going back, just say 2-3 times before Halloween Horror Nights is over. We're going to Disney. And let's just say we decided 2 or 3 of those times we're going to spend one of the nights doing another Halloween Horror Nights. It would make sense for us to get that frequent fear.
Yeah.
And that might be one where you go, like, we barely did any food.
Yeah.
So this could be one where we go, you know what, next time we go, we're not even going to worry about houses or rides. We're going to focus on the food.
Yeah.
And then for true locals, you know, I mean, there's people that will go every Thursday night or every Friday night. Or, you know, they get off work one night and they're like, oh, hey, that's where they go to meet somebody up for a drink and walk through some scare zones as opposed to just going to happy hour at Applebee's. You know what I mean?
That's funny.
So, like, I get it. I really, really do. Because even with as much as we did get done, there's so much that we still didn't get done.
Well,
that's the crazy part about it.
And jumping ahead a little, we missed some of the scare zones, and we'll talk about that here in a little bit. But I mean, that's one of the reasons that would be great for, you know, the frequent pass.
Yeah.
This is where I wish Disney for Mickey's Not So Scary. I wish they would do.
Yeah, they did that one year.
Because I would totally do this.
Yeah. Like we would have gone the past 2 trips.
Oh,
we would have probably gone to Mickey's Not So
absolutely.
Scary.
100%.
Yeah. I mean, it's very smart here. The other thing, you know, we keep talking about this Express Pass. Look, you know, we paid $80 something a ticket to get in.
Which is crazy because then the pass was
over
like
100 $180 for the pass.
Oh my gosh.
You know, so we were around $250 or so a person to get in, and it is a lot. And we have not done it for Rhonda and myself in the past because we just didn't see the value in doing it, especially when, like, last year we planned and we did 8 houses and all. I cannot imagine doing this without it now. After getting it this year, I can't even imagine.
Yeah.
One of the things that was so nice about this year, we did all 10 houses.
Yes, we did.
With ease.
Yes,
not
we
wait
did.
more than probably 15 minutes for a house, and that was rare.
Yeah.
And this is where it came around. Like, we didn't have a plan. We didn't feel pressured. We didn't have to worry about saying, well, we have to do this exact order to, you know, get the best use of our time and maximize and this and that. And
the only
work
thing that
everything
was
in.
have to that Kaylin kept talking was the Nightmare Fuel show.
And we knew that from the beginning, and we were going to see the 12:30.
Yes.
And that's played several times throughout the night, and you definitely want to catch it. But other than that, it was just kind of like, we didn't do it in a smart order whatsoever, but we had the best time.
No, but yeah.
We kind of relaxed in a way, and we still accomplished all 10 houses, and it was all because of this Express Pass.
Yeah.
If we had maximized our time with the Express Pass, we could have worked in a ton of food, doubling back and doing standby on some houses with shorter wait times. Like, we could have accomplished even so much more. So I would bite the bullet. Even if you are an AP and you're, you know, Premier and you're using that included ticket, that's free in a sense already for you. So spend the extra money and
Yep.
look at this Express Pass. It is, and and that's one where you go ahead and stay at Dockside Endless Summer.
Oh yeah.
Don't worry about booking any other resort. We paid like $128 a night or something for the 2-bedroom at Dockside each night.
Which was
so we saved a
wonderful.
ton of money staying there that you could say, well, we just spent that on Express Pass instead. So
Right.
cannot recommend it enough. You're going to want to hit the popular houses first.
Mm-hmm.
That is always true. And another thing you can look at your plans that we've done in the past is either start with that Stay and Scream in New York, because you will be able to knock out the couple that are right there, which includes like A Quiet Place, Insidious, I know's there. And I don't have the map in front of me, but you can easily kind of knock those out. Or sometimes, because everybody hits those first, you can start on the back end over more towards like where Men in Black is,
Right.
and work your way to the front. But you do want to look at that. So let's now talk about the houses
Okay.
and kind of give our thoughts on each.
Yeah.
I will say, for me overall, I liked the collective houses overall more than any other year. Like I thought all 10 were really good.
Okay.
As opposed to past years, I thought some were just absolutely great, and then some weren't really good.
Yeah.
This was like a level playing field where everything was just good.
Yeah.
Nothing was out of this world great to me, and nothing was like bottom of the barrel. So I thought that part was really cool, but we'll kind of talk through each of the houses. For me though, because of that, they bleed together very easily. And because I think we don't study a lot and we don't have a lot invested in like all the lore and the culture of Halloween Horror Nights.
Well, we did
They sometimes-
better this year.
Much better.
We
Yes.
watched a lot of these movies.
We did. Yep. We made sure we caught Frozen Empire, and we watched all the Quiet Place movies. We did not watch Insidious.
We did not. That's the one thing. And now I'm kind of like, I kind of want to watch it
I know.
just to see. But
this is one that Universal does such an incredible job. The same way we'll talk about the way that Disney sets up Flight of Passage. You don't need to have seen the Avatar movies. Disney sets everything up very well for you
Right.
to enjoy Flight of Passage without having any idea what it is. Every one of these, whether it's an IP where you've seen the movie or it's an original idea, they do such a great job that you're going to just be scared and laughing and loving the houses, I think, regardless of if you understand the story or you recognize the characters or the IP.
Yeah.
Like, that's what they do an awesome job of. So let's start with Monstrous, the Monsters of Latin America. This is a jungle-themed haunted house. This stars 3 Latin American monster legends. There's the shape-shifting Mexican vampire. I'll try to pronounce some of these names, but Tahlupuchi, the Mexican murderous owl humanoid La Lechuza, who stalks drunks, and the Colombian and Venezuelan El Cibon, who terrorizes womanizers. So we actually did this house twice.
we did. So it's so funny because when Jeremy said we did 10 houses, all 10 houses, we actually did 11 houses.
Yeah.
And when Lacey first said it, I was like, no, we didn't. There was only 10. We did 2 houses. So this was
one twice, you mean.
yes.
Yeah.
But excuse me. Yeah. Yeah. What you
Yeah,
said.
end of the night we were walking out, and
5
this was
minutes.
a 5-minute walk.
So
we went ahead and
literally
walked
you just
through it.
walk through, which
Yeah.
was super cool.
What did you think of this?
So I don't know if I should like say spoiler alert. Like,
Yeah, you can take this. You can take this whole episode that there will be spoiler alerts.
yeah.
I would say.
Yeah. So spoiler alert. I don't know how I felt about this one because we did it twice and it made me laugh, but I'm like, they were eating babies.
Yeah, babies' faces.
Like it was and crying babies and they
Yeah.
were eating babies. Like it was, and literally a scare actor came out holding a baby. So a spoiler, you need to know because if it really bothers you,
Yeah.
I mean, because I didn't know how to feel about this house.
Really? Yeah.
I mean, really, I'm like,
and here's what I'll say
Wow,
with
that
all the
was
houses when I go back too is
sad.
everything is so frantic. And this
mhm,
is another reason that I can see doing these multiple nights if you can.
right.
Even if you're coming from the UK and if we want to go back and talk about like the frequent fear, if you're coming from the UK or you're coming down for a week or so, you could do that and still do 2 or 3 nights
Yeah.
of Halloween Horror Nights because you want to see these houses over and over again. So one thing I'll say is this is my first Halloween Horror Nights going into these houses, not drinking. So one was I didn't know how I would react based on being in a different state of mind.
Right.
In the past, I was very surprised, very cool, very calm, very collected, very chill. I was not very susceptible to jump scares the past years. I just, whatever. But also, I found I wasn't able to take in everything real well.
Right.
So this year, I was more on, I think, high alert and edge, that I was almost confined. Like the first couple of houses,
you were?
I barely remember in the scenery because I was so focused on the group in front of me, which was all our friends, because I was the ender. I was the caboose for the first couple of houses.
Right.
So I'm focused on everybody in front of me. I'm focused on looking kind of at the ground and looking at where doors and openings are, where I think scares are going to come from.
Yeah.
And how am I going to react to these scares based on how I did the past 3 years, which was in a different state of mind.
I tried to.
I think that made everything blend together as well some.
Well, I tried to look around more too, and then just go, well, if I'm gonna be scared, I'm gonna be freaking scared. Whatever. But so I do remember a lot.
I remember a lot of
and
this house because it was very jarring with those scenes. And like the first time we went through, there's a baby carriage. Yeah,
like,
the crying
blood,
baby's loud.
Again, this is just the one house that I'm like,
yeah.
And even after the second time, I'm like, I still don't know how I feel.
I know.
So
but,
anyways,
yeah,
we can move on from this.
Yeah,
this one.
But
it
this
was really
is.
Cool.
But you bring up a very good point because there are lots of trigger warnings. It is something that you would want to study and look at. That is definitely something that could be very upsetting to someone, that they might want to steer clear of that house.
Yeah.
Based on what that portion and all was focused around. But very
gross,
terrifying. And if you've not been to a Halloween Horror Nights,
it is not Mickey's Not So Scary.
It is not.
It is scary.
It is scary. It is R-rated scary. 100%.
100%.
Now there's no touchy. There is no touching of scare actors to you, or obviously you to scare actors. So it's not that, but it is no hold bars, as in the gore, the scares, the everything. Yeah. But also, this is not your neighborhood haunted house.
No.
This is not your going to a state fair haunted house. This is full movie quality sets.
Yeah.
And makeup, and it is unbelievable.
It is.
If I never liked this type of stuff. I never wanted to do Halloween Horror Nights until I did it, and I have fallen in love with it to the fact that I watch horror movies, like slasher films and stuff, and love it. So and I say that for people that have never gone, you might want to give it a try, and you don't have to start with Express Pass going to all the houses. You can start with going through and checking out scare zones and checking out the show, and maybe finding some of the houses that are a little bit tamer and doing one or two of those. And then the next year going a little bit, more into it. But all right, let's move on to our first IP based house, A Quiet Place. Of course, this is based on Paramount Pictures' A Quiet Place and A Quiet Place 2, where the noise you make attracts blind monsters with sharp hearing. Universal's embracing this unique challenge of sound design and horror by building a new concept for a haunted house with new design tricks and even casting actors who can communicate with American Sign Language inside of the house. This was the first house that we did.
That part, man.
Yeah, there was. Some of the scare actors were communicating in ASL.
I would have liked to have seen that. I think this is where I was trying to look around, but we were also being like, shh, you're supposed to be quiet because they, if they hear stuff, then they come and chase you or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember some things in this one, and it was cool. It was neat to. And things like this, when it is based on a movie, it is neat because I do feel like I am walking through some movie pieces.
When they put you through, there's a set that you walk through where it is in the flooded basement, and there's everything's floating around you, and the scenes, the crying baby in there,
that doesn't get eaten.
No, does not get eaten. The animatronic aliens that come out.
Cool.
This one has some wonderful scares.
Yeah.
It is eerily quiet. It is not like drop a pin quiet, obviously. No. There's no way they could do that without soundproofing each and every room. But it is a weird quiet where I think the scares have so much more impact.
Yeah.
Because you're not going from a level of just tons of screaming around you to an additional scream. You're going from more of a silence. And there is one at the end that got me good. Well, I don't know if that was an arm, what was coming out of the wall, and it comes near you. That one got me really, really good at the end. But it's this one. I really liked this one. Yeah. And I loved that I could connect it because I've seen the movies.
Correct.
Like I really did enjoy that part of it. All right. Next up is Insidious The Further. This is the one IP we are not familiar with. We chose not to watch based on previews and just things we heard about it and things we had heard about the house. This is walk into the ghostly realm that haunts the stars in the Insidious films in this all new haunted house. You
walk through this giant red door and
this we saved basically for last.
We did because
we had heard this was the most horrifying house.
The most horrifying, the most the longest. And
most scare actors, I believe, they've ever used.
Yes, and disgusting as far as in, again, here's another spoiler alert. So if you don't want to know, skip ahead. But the girls started talking about there's vomiting in this house and supposedly smells like vomit. One of the girls was very nervous and it was Lacey and asked a cast member, does it really? And praise God, they have not gone 4D, 5D, whatever you want to call it.
5. That's getting a whole other sense.
Praise God, it was not. But there is a scene, and all these houses, which is super cool because you do need to want to go through and look all around, like up and down.
Yeah, but that's the part that's so scary because you miss the scares, and that's where I had trouble taking everything in. So I tried to be more conscious of it for the second half. So but there's stuff everywhere.
Yeah. So this particular house, again, here's the spoiler. When you're walking through, there is a guy vomiting, but it's up high. Yeah. And you could get air quote unquote vomit on you. Yeah. So there is water that is going to fall on you. And I'm like, that's disgusting.
Yes. And it is just water and all, but it is, I got watered on. Yeah. Ugh. It is. But again, these are triggering for some people. Like you said, one of the girls was worried about it. It was Lacey.
Kaylin was too, but I think Lacey was more where she asked a team member.
Was it Stand By Me on the bus? That scene, the movie Stand By Me?
Oh,
I think that was on the bus where a kid threw up on the bus, and then that triggers everybody else. It's one of the grossest scenes, but
So anyways, my point is that this was a great house, though. I didn't find it the scariest.
I didn't either. I actually, from what everybody was saying, which was like, this is horrifying. It is disgusting. It is. I didn't think it was as bad as everyone.
I didn't
stated.
either because
I didn't think it was scary.
There's another one in here that I'm like, that was
what this one had going back to the year, I don't think it was last year, it might have been the year before, with the room that was filled with all the Mike Myers, right? Mm-hmm. This had 2 rooms similar where it is filled with people and you don't know which ones are real.
Are you real? No.
And that is horrifying.
Mm-hmm.
But
you have no idea who's going to jump out at you. And then you're like, you don't want to look because you're like, are you real? And then if all of a sudden then they jump at you.
And there is preparing. Like and here, when you go with a group, first of all, go with a group. It's so much fun.
It's so fun, yeah.
But when you are with a group, if you are in the last position, because you're going single file, the way that I was a lot of times, often the front is getting the scare. So you're able to witness that and it's not going to get you. So like that's one of the things that's cool about a group, or you're in the middle. You know, like, and they're timing it. I mean, the scare actors are timing it. Yes. They're looking at kind of what is coming. But yeah, this was a very scary house. I mean, I get why people are loving this one. I just didn't think it was like to the level that I thought it was going to be.
And I think
like, I was actually nervous about this
I was
house.
Too.
I was nervous.
I was happy.
Yeah, maybe make me ill or what.
Yeah.
Because there are, you know, dismembered bodies. There's this, again, this goes to very R-rated levels in these houses.
Yep.
All right, let's talk Ghostbusters Frozen Empire. Ghostbusters returns to Halloween Horror Nights with a new house based on the latest Ghostbusters flick, Ghostbusters Frozen Empire with the evil Garaka. I will say this had my favorite single scene out of any house in the Frozen room. Was amazing. Yeah. It was like this dining room, It was completely frozen. All the people in it were frozen that looked so lifelike.
So cool.
There were the ice like sickles coming up from the ground.
Mhm.
Like it was.
And it was cold
awesome.
in there,
was
which
cold.
was amazing.
Yep. We were like, this is how Frozen Ever After needs to be.
Yeah, right.
I really enjoyed this house. I think it was the least scary.
Yes.
Which made
and I was
it very
say,
fun.
I sure to say this was probably almost my favorite one.
And I was so impressed with the sets from beginning to end.
Yeah, because there was some scares, but still, like, I think the one who got me the most was it was actually like a Ghostbuster.
Yes.
Like, and I was like, oh my God, like it scared the crap out of me.
The casting.
He wasn't supposed to be like a bad scare,
right.
like a
no, that
ghost.
one got me. That one got me too.
Yeah.
The casting of the
Oh my God, they
characters.
looked almost like the characters
Yeah,
for
in
real.
The Quiet Place too.
Yeah.
Like they looked
Yeah.
like the characters.
It was amazing.
really,
Yeah.
really
It
impressive.
was really good.
So I really enjoyed this one.
I did too.
Like this is one I could see doing just repeatedly, just for fun.
Yes, I agree.
I loved it.
Yep.
All right, let's move on to Triplets of Terror. It's the Barmy's Triplets birthday party, and you're invited. There aren't pony rides and bounce castles at this event. Instead, it's decorated in the recreations of the family's murderous habits in the town. I will say, for me personally, this was my favorite house of the night. I don't know what it was.
Was it because it was your birthday?
Maybe. I loved it. I loved the sets. Like, you really felt like you were in a movie, a murder, and caught in the middle of a murderous rampage movie in a house. Like, I don't know what it was. It was just so good. And these Barmy triplets are horrifying. These big, like, kind of mutated, demented, just, like, I loved it. This is one that if you didn't know, you would just assume that this was based off a movie. Yeah. I think. Like, it almost, it was a movie. Walking through a movie that hasn't been made yet. I loved it. I really, really liked this house a lot.
Yeah, this was fine. I was trying to remember, like, it was funny because Tina was like, we were just talking and joking, and she was like, oh, this is Jeremy's birthday party? And I'm like, yeah. And then I'm like going through and I'm like, oh my God, this is kind of horrifying.
Also, when you go with your group, make sure you have people that will be very scared, because it is so much fun.
Yes.
Like, there gets to a point where I was like, I really want to just be behind Tina so that I can watch her reactions.
Yeah.
Because it is fetal position. She's almost
funny.
On the ground. Like, she is hilarious. Kaylin is very funny because she's a lot like me, I think, where she is kind of calm and collected, like, yeah, I'm chill, this isn't. But when it gets her, it gets her.
Yeah. Well,
Lacey
her own shadow scared her at one
point. I know. The worst is when you're coming around a corner and there's a team member just plain clothes regular
in there.
and you get scared.
Yeah.
And then you almost feel bad. You want to be like, oh God, I'm sorry, you were horrifying. Like, I looked at your face and I jumped back.
And they laugh though.
They do, yeah.
You've seen that.
Lacey is Lacey. So Lacey, I think, is genuinely scared, but she overacts it. Jim carries it.
Oh, yeah.
100%. You know what I mean?
100%.
But she is genuinely scared. And when, like, going through scare zones, that's what I think, I've told the story about the first time when the scare actor came up to Lacey, and we saw this again here.
I just started to
say.
You
can tell that in a sec.
Yeah.
And the scare actor walked up. He saw visibly that she was uneasy and gave her a little fist bump, and it helped her so much. They also can tell when you're kind of like, I want to be scared by the way that Lacey was acting. So they chased her around scare zones. While she's laugh screaming, they know. But then what did you witness? Because it was just like that time with Lacey.
Same thing. So I don't need to say it. It's the same exact thing.
Okay. So well, just ditto. You could have said. Okay. So anyway, let's get into Major Sweets Candy Factory. This is a prequel to the 2022 Horror Nights Sweet Revenge Scare Zone. Major Sweets Candy Factory is a look at the dark plans that led to the famous Halloween parade invasion. Walk into Major Sweets' factory and discover how he turns regular children into feral monsters. I'm going to be honest, out of the whole night, this is the one I just do not remember.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. I do. I thought it was really cool because I mean, all these kids are eating candy, and then later it was super neat in some of the candy stores in the place you can actually buy some of these. I love the character candy.
And all. It's very Willy Wonka.
Yeah, and it was just really cool because I'm like looking at these characters and like these people are dying with all the sweets they ate, literally.
Yeah.
But there is one major, again, spoiler, that if, again, throw up triggers you, this time, this
I do remember.
big guy is just vomiting into
a big barrel.
Big
wasn't
barrel,
it?
and
Yeah.
you see, like, there's
Okay, I do
stuff
remember
coming out.
this house now with
And
that one.
when it comes out, like, it's not just, it literally is not just, like, coming out, like a hose that just continues over and over and over. No, he would stop throwing up, and then he would throw up, and I was like, holy crap.
Yeah.
That's intense, but cool, because it legit looked real. So with all that being said, yeah, this one was cool to me, because there was unfortunately young, like, looking children that were, of course, dummies or whatever you call them, that
they're young. I mean, they haven't been through enough school yet.
No. Okay. Not real, but anyways, like, they were, like, just eating all this candy, and, like, it was cool. I liked this one. I think I really like this one.
Okay.
I think, and maybe it was
See, this makes
one
me
of
want
the
to go
first.
back.
I know, one of the first times that I was, like, really trying to look all around, like, up, down, and just like, wow, this is really cool.
It is. It's incredible.
So, yeah.
I mean, this is where I think one of the tours, like the RIP tours, and we didn't cover all those, but
Right.
I do think one of those would be so cool to kind of get a backstage look at the way all of this is done, because it's just and what's so amazing is that it's not Mickey's Not So Scary, where it's the same thing every single year. These houses are different. The scare zones are different. Everything is different every year. It's unbelievable.
It's great, unbelievable, and sad.
Yeah.
Sad in the end, because if you're like, okay, I can't get there this year, but I want to go next year. I want to go to this house.
I wish Beetlejuice house was every year.
I do too.
It's been my favorite ever that we've
Super
done.
sad, but understandable, and then you just get something new every year. So,
like Goblin's Feast. Fantasy meets graphic gore in this comedic haunted house right out of a game of Dungeons and Dragons. Goblins, orcs, and witches are preparing a feast of lost explorers and were included on the menu. Before arriving at the feast, guests will walk through woods and a goblin village. How'd you like this one? This had a lot of goblins. These had incredible the
goblins are amazing.
The makeups and the animatronics and stuff that was used.
This is the one where all the big pigs and all the.
Did this have the pigs, or was that the Latin America one? Monstrous. This might have had the pigs.
Now I'm
and I
trying
do remember
to
the outdoor set pieces were beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
All the goblins were so well
The goblins
done and
were
crafted.
really cool, and I really enjoyed that. Is that the one at the very end where it was this giant goblin?
I believe that was huge goblin head at the end that came out at you.
Oh,
yes.
And I think what it was is it was truly a scare actor holding and pushing it out
specifically. Yeah,
because I was like, it almost touched me.
Yeah, no, I thought this one was great. Universal Monsters, Eternal Bloodlines, the daughter of Van Helsing, Sasha and the Bride of Frankenstein team up to defeat the daughter of Dracula, She-Wolf, and the mummy, Axnu Naman.
This was really cool. And this was a cool one because Kaylin found out that the people who had making this or coming up with it were all female.
Yes.
As of either they're trans, either they're identifying, or they are born.
Yes. Yeah. Was everybody involved in this house. And it was super cool. Really, really
This was a great house. This one to me wasn't very scary either. And I think it might have been Slaughter Cinema was the one with the pigs. I don't remember which the next one we're about to talk about, but whatever one that had
all those pigs,
all the pigs.
Somebody will tell us, and that's where we're just so muddled up with everything. But I remember Slaughter Cinema 2 very well. And this is the salute to schlocky movies is back in Slaughter Cinema 2. Expect to see rooms themed to grindhouse flicks, spaghetti westerns, and neon punk skeletons, which I love. The neon punk skeletons and the design. This was straight up like grindhouse spaghetti. Yeah, this was awesome. But this was gory. Yeah. Yes, this was gory slaughter slasher. like, but incredible set pieces, like
Yeah.
one
Oh,
from the
yeah.
50s,
Yeah.
look like the 1950s. Like this was really, really well done. And the slaughter skeletons that are on all the merch, a bunch of the merch is just
super cool.
awesome. The merchandise here was so
Yeah, it was.
good this
Yeah,
year.
it was.
Girls get a hoodie every
Every
single year. So, but yeah, I loved this house. This is one I would like to do again and again. It was just,
Yeah.
it was scary. It was gross. It was fun. Like I thought they just killed it. And then finally we have the museum dead exhibits, a folklore museum displaying the rotting stone reawakens the evil spirit in the stone. Now he must escape the museum, avoiding killer exhibits and violent history to live another day. We did this towards the end, but this one is a little vague to me as well.
I now remember, and this was cool. This one, I feel like, this was a little forgettable, because it was those two in the back where it was the museum, and then it was the bloodlines, I believe.
Bloodlines that were back there.
I was very excited. Yeah,
when we went to the bathroom and got freestyle cokes and all over there, right?
No, it was where you like walked back off property.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
Okay. Anyways, I remember being more excited to go into the bloodlines because of what Kaylin told me. But then the museum, I think I remember being like, I don't know. I was just kind of like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah, I remember feeling very Mummy Returns. Like I felt like I was in the queue for Mummy, right?
Yeah, that's
Which
true.
we did ride.
Yeah,
that was our one choice of ride.
we
Because,
did.
Again, it's one of those like and that's where like, okay, our next tip is plan your route.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Like we didn't.
No.
We just flew by the seat of our pants. Everybody, I think, was shocked with me.
Yeah, it was really weird.
I didn't do squat.
No, you
to
didn't.
Get ready.
It was almost annoying.
Yeah, right? You guys appreciate me very much now, don't you? Like, everybody was like, Jeremy, what time does it open? And I'm like, you know what? I don't really know. And they're like, what time can we get in? I was like, I'm not sure. And they're like, what houses should we do? I was like, honestly, I didn't even look. Like, I just wanted
annoying.
to chill, honestly, because we've been so busy lately.
Yeah.
And we're getting ready to get so busy even more. I think I just wanted to chill. And I knew we had Express Pass, and I didn't want to be all high strung and anxious and worried about hitting stuff. But if I had, we could have done every house, probably rode every ride with the Express, eaten a lot more food. Like, so that's where you want to game plan and plan your route.
Yeah.
And if you don't have Express Pass, you really want to plan your route.
The rides, I think, were really low wait time.
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
Lacey did Rip Ride Rocket
Mhm.
right at the end of the night. So
Mhm.
you can definitely take advantage of those. For us, it's like
They
riding.
also did Men in Black, I think.
Yeah, they did. For us, it's like riding Haunted Mansion during every Mickey's Not So Scary. Like we have to do Mummy for Halloween Horror Nights.
Yeah.
It's just kind of our thing. Pace yourself.
Yeah, because
And
I don't feel like
let's do the
really.
next 3 tips together, which is pace yourself, wear comfortable shoes and clothing, stay hydrated, and have snacks.
Yeah.
We did not pace ourselves.
Because poor Kaylin.
I've never hurt so bad in
Yeah.
my body.
You too. I was fine because I just stand and whatever for a living anyway.
Yeah.
So my body was a little like tired or whatever, but nothing to like you and
Mine was
Kaylin.
about to just break down. Like when we sat, because we caught the 12:30 of the Nightmare Fuel, which is Nocturnal Circus this year, which again is great. Sitting on those, I was so uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Like even last night, Tina asked me, she was like, "Were you okay?" She goes, "I thought you were having a panic attack." And I was like, "No, my body hurt so bad I had to keep moving."
Yeah.
She's like, "I just saw you twitching and shake." And I'm like, I couldn't get comfortable.
Yeah.
But you do want to pace yourself. Comfortable shoes and like I know everybody wants to get kind of dressed up, and there are certain things you can do, but just be comfortable.
Yeah.
This is a grueling night.
Yeah.
Going through houses is grueling. Your body from head to toe will be tense the whole time.
Yeah.
You will use muscles you didn't know existed because they are tense because you're worried about getting scared, right? What else? You got to make sure you do.
Well, of course, stay hydrated.
Yeah.
So you can bring your cups in, and you don't have to reactivate them if you don't want sodas, because all the freestyle has water and stuff. That's what we kept doing all night. And, it can be hot and humid, of course, which it always is. And which I can't believe the girls were wearing their hoodies. They wore them the
all
whole
night.
night. Like they were sweating and stuff. But and make sure you get some snacks too. But yeah, and it's nice you can carry those cups in, and you can bring your own cup. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, just to get water.
Yep.
I mean, we did one refillable. And then we reactivated one that we had from the past.
Right.
And I was able to get my caffeine-free diet Cokes and all flavors all night, and they actually were good.
Yeah.
50-50, they're not going to have ice. The universal no ice in the freestyle issue continues.
Yeah.
But I will say this. The sodas are so cold. Several times I got them, and I was drinking it 45 minutes, 50 minutes later, and it was still very cold, even without the ice.
Good.
So, stay hydrated. Bring some snacks because the food lines can get long. Same with the freestyle machines. Yeah. We found the one in Louis Pizza, never to have anybody. Yeah, we stopped in there several times to fill up.
Yep.
Like I said, don't miss the shows. I mean, that Nightmare Fuel, whether you're uncomfortable sitting there or not, is absolutely amazing.
It is.
Not for the young.
I just started to say
but
that.
None of Horror Nights truly is.
Yeah. I mean.
But there's a difference between.
No, I mean, you have to know your child.
Yes. And there's a difference between scare zones and houses, which are obviously much more on a scare factor, whereas Nightmare Fuel is more on a sexual nature.
Correct.
I will say.
Yes.
So depending on your kid, whatever age they may be, whether they're Lacey's age at 14 or, Cassidy's age at 17 or whatever, think of where they are on that level of sexualization of things to just people popping out at you that are missing like arms. Which is worse. You gotta choose your battles sometimes, parents. That's what it's all about. So
yes.
But it's an amazing show.
It is. Kaylin always loves it. And the very first year we went, that was, I think, the best. And I say the first year, I remember the first year we saw the show was, I think, the best year. I didn't see it last year, but I did see it this year.
Kayla and I both preferred last year's over this year's.
Oh, you did?
But it's an amazing show.
Year. Yeah, oh yeah.
Regardless.
It's amazing.
I think it might be, in my opinion, it might be my favorite, or what I think is the best live show between Universal and Disney. Like, I'd put it over a Festival of the Lion King. Now, it's a very different one, obviously. But, it's got heavy metal and rock music. It's got fire. It's got acrobatics. It's got dancing. It's got attractive people. Like, there's not a lot to not like. If you like those things, you're going to like this. If you can, visit on a weekday. That's like
we did.
Yeah. Yep.
It's a Thursday night, and it kids miss a couple days of school, but that's all right. It's usually lower crowds and stuff, but also it's a little cheaper.
Yes, it is.
So that was super nice.
Yeah. I mean, between our family, when all of a sudden we're already spending all this money, I think we still save somewhere between $40 and $60 doing it on a Thursday compared to even a Friday.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And we try and trade that out sometimes and go, all right, we saved just say $60. Well, that was half the price of our room.
Right.
Or that was lunch that day or whatever. Right. So, look at those for sure. Bring the right bags. There are going to be some restrictions. They do get a lot stricter when people are coming in through security for Halloween Horror Nights than they do during the day, especially when it comes to things like liquids, bottles. Sometimes if you do have just say a Yeti that has liquid in it, they may make you pour it out as opposed to during the morning. They might not. Yeah. That's not giving you any ideas. It's just stating facts. But they might be more strict. I ended up taking a fanny pack that for me worked amazing because you also do not want, I think, even something the size of a lounge fly that's sticking off your back, because it can be so tight in those houses. You're swiveling around a lot. You know what I mean? You don't want to be hitting somebody else or a scare actor when you're making a quick turn and that book bag is swinging behind you. So I think a fanny pack worked really well. Well, I mean,
the houses aren't that small.
But still, don't you think it's better? And you had like a belt bag, your Lululemon belt bag.
Lululemon belt bag.
Didn't you think that was so much better for the houses specifically as opposed to a lounge fly?
Yeah, because because you are in a single file line, and if you have a group, somebody's holding on to the backpack. Like Rob carried she got a specific one for Universal, which is
like a drawstring, but
it's not. but it's
nothing like a drawstring.
flat.
Yeah, it is flat with that. It has no strings and no draws
Yes.
whatsoever.
Anyways, it's really neat because my whole point is it fits in the lockers at Universal really well.
Yeah, which is key.
Where
Lounge flies are not great.
do
Yep.
not.
No.
Like you
You got
are
to squishy them.
you are shoving
Yeah, you
them
are.
in there.
Yeah.
So like my belt bag would, but it was funny because I guess Tina was holding on to that.
Yes, Tina
And
was always
Rob-
holding on to whatever was in front of her.
Right. But Rob was like, you were just keep shaking the backpack.
Yeah.
So like when she held on to me, because my belt bag was so little and everything, she held on to my shoulders.
Yes.
So
She just held on to my shirt.
did she?
Yep.
So anyways, I would say it's just nice to have something smaller. Because in case you do ride the rides and you're throwing your bag and, you know, or anything like that.
Yeah, but it's definitely nice to have something.
It is.
But I do think something that is closer to the body.
Yeah.
It just works a lot better. The scare zones, try and see them all.
Yes.
They're, like we said, they are a good starting point for the person who is a little apprehensive about Halloween Horror Nights.
Mhm.
They're a really good starting point
Mhm.
because, you know, the scare zones have set pieces. And when you're first doing
They
the scare
do.
zones, it's still daytime if you're going right
Yes.
now
Yes.
on the earlier end. So you can see everything in the light of day. You can see these big set pieces. You can see the scare actors usually walking through. Some of them blend in pretty well. They're a little bit camouflaged, but it is a good way to get kind of your feet wet and check them all out.
But these are also like, for example, what did we walk through? Like multiple
Torture Fair is that
The
one
Torture Fair.
in New York. That was Torture Fair that we walked through several times.
Several times.
It's a really
And
good one.
It is. It's
great
great.
scare
But
zone.
it literally has a air quote unquote person that was missing his head,
Yes.
his arms,
Yes.
or arm, a leg,
Yep.
and then his whole back
Yeah. It
was ripped
yeah,
open.
with hooks.
Yeah. So
Correct.
these are, I mean,
It's not a good
again,
way to get
Jeremy's
ahead.
Jeremy's right. These are PG-13 R for sure.
Yeah, it's pretty R. But again, it's a good introduction.
Yeah.
To
But
go
anyways.
into it.
So these scare zones are really fun. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of them. The Blumhouse one is one we went through, which
That's
was
awesome.
super cool. I
Yeah,
loved
you got
going
the
through
grabber
that.
from Black Phone. You've
Yeah.
got Megan,
Yep.
who this is just I'm just so impressed. You know, we've been doing some live music lately and just live entertainment in general. We've been going to concerts, right?
Yeah.
I'm
Where you-
yeah,
like,
no,
where
I'm
are you
going
going
somewhere.
with
I'm
this?
going somewhere with this.
Okay.
You know, here, like going to watching the people rehearse for the cast members rehearse for the parade, you know, for Not So Scary when we did the Keys to the Kingdom. This Megan actress who plays Megan, I saw clips of somebody who went up and was like, do the dance with me, the Megan dance. And of course, that Megan knew it exactly and mirrored the person doing it exactly. Like,
Oh, that's cool.
just the preparation. But here's what I wanted to say real quick, because, you know, these people, I'm looking at general and entertainment business and all that stuff. Sports make a ton of money, right?
Uh-huh.
They make a ton of money. And there was this meme going around that is very correct in some ways. It's saying like, you know, we need doctors, we need, you know, police, we need firefighter, we need all those people, teachers, we need them very, very badly.
Mm-hmm.
And it's basically says, I've never once needed an athlete or a movie star or whatever. And I want to call BS on that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? You need those things.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that these actors or movie star, or whether it's the same thing, these movie stars or sports athletes should make the money that they do.
Mm-hmm.
But to act like they're not providing a very, very important service, even if you consider it a mental health service, you know, like us going to these concerts have just been amazing.
Mm-hmm.
You know, going through this and these scare actors, this Megan who has learned this entire dance, you know, these people that are giving it their all as just scare actors or in the Nocturnal Circus show and the Nightmare Fuel, like we need that, but people want to just claim that we don't.
Okay.
So I've been wanting to like say that for a while now, but I loved this because you had the grabber, you had Megan, then you had the killer from Happy Death Day.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had the killer from Freaky.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had some other, like, I think random Blumhouse characters that were walking around a little bit.
We watched all of these too. So that was super cool to see all of that.
Yeah. The Happy Death Day one is the one that followed Tina and I.
Oh, and then
so we're walking through, and we walk past them, and it's that little baby face mask one.
Okay.
That's the Happy Death Day one. And so we walk past them, and, and they kind of, sometimes they'll just stare you down, which is freaky, or sometimes they'll, lunge or something and try and jump scare you.
Mm-hmm.
So he kind of just stares us down, and then we keep walking, and I can feel someone behind me. But I'm like, I do not want to turn my head around to see if that's who it is, because they might jump scare me, and I don't know how I'm going to react. So we just keep going, and I'm just like, Tina, just walk faster. We're both like walking, and we start walking faster, and it was like out of a freaking movie. I could feel his presence, and I'm talking like a foot or two behind us. Like I could almost feel, I think, his feet kicking my heels. And we got to the edge of where the scare zone is and got about 10 feet further. I could feel him stop and turned around, and he just stared for a couple seconds at us and then shrugged his shoulders and turned around and walked away. But it was just,
wow.
But it was so cool.
Yeah.
It wasn't a jump scare. It wasn't like this bloody, gory anything. It was just that simple following us. That was just amazing. And then did we miss all the other three because of the weather, and they were having to put the scare actors away?
Yes.
Okay.
Unfortunately. So this is where I was going to talk about later with rain and stuff. Rain, all the houses still work, of course. But when it does rain, the scare zone actors and actresses do go away until they can come back out.
Mm-hmm.
Praise God that this wasn't rain where we needed our ponchos.
We
Jeremy
lucked out
did
so much.
bring them.
Yeah,
we did.
We lucked out. Disposable.
Yep.
You can get like a 4-pack on Amazon for $8. Go to CVS, a dollar store, get the disposables, because we didn't end up using them, like Rhonda said. But if we put them on and at the end of the night had to throw them in the garbage, who cares?
Right.
They were dirty. They're dirty cheap. They were dirt cheap.
Right. But this is where it did rain enough for the scares actors to go away, but not for us to use the ponchos, which was great. It was really hot, and it was just kind of sprinkling, and we were going in and out of houses and kind of going in and out of things. So like when there was heavier raindrops, I think we're in a house, and then it was just light, and then we'd go to the restroom or whatever. But when we were walking through the scare zones, I think the swamp of the undead, we definitely walked through, and it was
I believe that was the one heading from
going over towards ET.
Yes.
Yep.
Yeah.
And
yeah,
I was
there was nobody out when we walked through there.
And I was sad about that.
Yeah, that's usually a really good one.
Yeah. So, and then when they did come back out and we walked back through Torture Fair and the Blumhouse, unfortunately, the other scare zones were just so far away that it, I guess, wasn't worth walking back through them or what we were doing.
Yeah.
So that's one of the more reasons I feel like you might want a multiple night pass, because you can miss things like this depending on the weather. And
we would go back and put a focus specifically on those scare zones. And then,
because there has been weather for sure, like even at night more than anything.
Yeah,
so
there's been some bad. I didn't tell you this. Our friend David King, he and the family went last Sunday to Mickey's Not So Scary, and everything got rained out. Like parade, like everything, fireworks, everything got rated out. So they automatically loaded, because they've done this before for us, they automatically loaded a 1-day park hopper ticket into their account. So he asked me, and he's like, well, I can't use this. I'm an annual pass holder. What do I do? So I just said, they do this a lot. Remember they did it with us, the opening of Rise of Resistance, when we actually got a second virtual queue because the system was wonky and we didn't make it. They automatically gave us one of these.
Okay.
You can't use it for anything. It has no value. You can't give it to someone else.
Right.
You can't apply it to a renewal of an AP, because we asked that. But he did contact them. I said, contact them. If anything, they'll give you another date to do the party instead. And they did.
Oh,
Yeah.
that's
So
awesome.
I thought that was great.
Yeah.
All right, moving on to the next one. We're going to talk a little bit about the food and beverage because we didn't do much, so we're really not going to cover it. We didn't make it around to the Stay Puffed marshmallow s'more, which I really, really wanted to do.
I know.
We had an opportunity. It was just longer lines,
and
it was like, you know.
Well, we did. That line was actually super long.
Yes, it was. Yeah.
So it was the longest of any food line that we
saw all night. Pizza Skull was not bad line.
Nope.
Got Pizza Skulls. Again, that was one. Tina and I wanted to get another one later. We did not. We did get the guts that was over.
That was fantastic.
The butternut
it was
squash guts.
called pumpkin guts. And there was like some crunchy in it, which would, to me, appear the seeds.
Mm-hmm.
It was an acorn squash, I believe, half cut.
Yes.
It was so, and then there was like strings of, I don't know if it was like some type of squash or carrot or what. This dish to me was fantastic. I absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
It's disgusting looking.
Yeah. It really is.
But it was fantastic.
Yeah.
And at there too was the apple pie.
Oh yeah, it was like a McDonald's apple pie. Yeah. It had like a blood drizzle, strawberry drizzle.
Right, strawberry jam.
Universal does. Okay, so where Mickey's Not So Scary and Disney does like, oh, look at this little cupcake with mini ears on it. This one is like, here's baby's eyes. Like, here's fingers. Here's like, they actually go disgusting with them and they do a good job.
Because it was funny. I showed Rob and Tina likes usually stuff like that. And she was like, no, that looks disgusting.
It really did.
But it was so good. It was so good.
It was like the perfect fall dish.
The apple little pie,
I loved it.
I did too, and it tasted very homemade in my opinion.
Yeah.
But did not look disgusting at all. It was super
just had
cute.
That strawberry drizzle.
Yep. Connor got it as well, and I was like, "Hey, bud, what'd you think?" And he really liked it too.
Yeah.
So and then we just got some candy or some
those
stuff.
macaroons from the candy store. Those
they
were
always
amazing.
have.
Or caramels.
It was caramels.
Yep.
There was
were
an
kind
apple.
of like a fudge though. It had more of a fudge texture. I felt
it had a texture like that, but they were caramel.
Uh-huh.
They were a apple and a pumpkin.
A pumpkin was so
and
good.
then a blood orange with dark chocolate.
Yeah.
That ended up being my favorite.
It's
and
like
that
the
was the
chocolate-covered
Insidious
orange
one.
things that you crack. Right?
Oh my God, it was
That's
so
what it had the taste of.
good. Yeah. A little better than that. Oh my gosh. And then dark chocolate, and it was the red door, and it was just this one was fantastic.
Yeah.
So we didn't get the Stay and Puff, and then of course we didn't get any of the drinks.
No, and that's what I'll say about the alcohol there. Because we've had it plenty of times in the past.
Yeah.
You know, they have the deals. You get the refillable cup. I believe it's $17.50 for your first one. You keep the cup. It's $13.50 refills. I'll say about all the alcoholic beverages that I've ever had there are really sweet, overly syrupy. Like if you can now, again, if you're a local and this is, you say, hey, one night we're going to go out and try a bunch of drinks. And that's like our night of using a frequent fear pass. Go for it. But if this is your one night to attend, personally, and take it from someone who has done this, save your time and save your money. The lines can get longer, which means that you are missing out on something else, which again, I've done plenty of times in the past.
Yep.
And it's not for anything that's amazing. If they were wonderful alcoholic beverages, I would say make sure you get some of these alcoholic beverages. They're just not.
They're not at the park.
They're not the best.
I would say save your money / get them
at the resorts.
Stuff.
Yep, they have some wonderful handcrafted cocktails. We did some last year at the pool bar. You can get them all day. Great point. Just look at that because this can really add up during the night. Now, again, if you're going specifically for drinking, go get them, have fun, get your Blinky cup. But you can save a lot of money and time. I would just get the refillable mug because even the non-alcoholic beverages, every single one, because this was sponsored by Fanta, was some Fanta soda with a couple little fruit juices in it. You know, so nothing like crazy special. Of course, as always, make sure you got the Universal Orlando app. That will give you wait times during the evening, and it'll give you all the food locations and everything that you need.
And if this is where your ticket is,
Yes,
it is a QR code, so you can screenshot that. If you have a whole bunch in your app for a whole bunch of family members, you can do that.
Yeah.
That is what we did and used it through the night, and it worked
very
fantastic.
well. Yeah, I was a little bit worried about that. I thought it was going to be a huge pain in the butt. It was not at all.
Nope.
And it was actually nice not having a key card lanyard around my neck that a scare actor could grab and then choke me out.
Okay, they did not do that.
I still think that there needs to be a Halloween Horror Nights movie that Universal puts out where people start getting picked off in these houses on Halloween Horror Nights, and it takes a while to like figure it out. I think that would be
I
so
would
good.
not want to watch that because that is something that could truly happen, in my opinion. And so I hate things that could really happen or that has happened.
Yeah. What if it turns out in the end it's like a monster that isn't real? It's not a person.
Mm.
All right. Know the rules. That comes down to the bag sizes. That comes down to the dress code.
Yes.
Just double check. You will
what you're wearing. Like
last
we
year
saw
Tina,
a girl like going through security and I don't know if it was a police person came over and basically the major security people were talking to her, and it was like some like spiked collar belt thing, and they basically were like, you can't, and I was passing by, so I don't know what they were doing with it, if like she had to come back and get I don't know, but
know your people. You know, like we're talking about with kids, you know your kids, but you need to know the other people that you're with. There are obviously, some people that are just never going to want to do this, and that's understandable. Also, if you have sensitivity issues, this is the one you really want to look out. Fog.
Oh, yeah.
Lights, flashing lights. If you're prone to seizures, things like that. Just the noises and the sound, the imagery and all of that. Just, again, you need to know your party. Not automatically is it, oh, you're 28? You'll love it. No, not everybody will love it.
Right.
Now, I do think you should give it a try the way that I did.
Right.
And I did end up loving it. If you do not love it, there's no money back guarantee, but I do think give it a try.
Yeah.
Just be respectful. The scare actors are not going to touch you. Mm-hmm. Do not touch them. You're not a scare guest. Don't yell back at them.
Yeah.
Don't think it's funny to get in their face. Don't they're doing their job.
Yeah.
Don't walk into their workplace and be a jerk.
Right.
And just be respectful. We are very lucky so far here in Orlando that there aren't age restrictions. A lot of these other parks around the country, when you get down to some Six Flags and even some Busch Gardens, they're having to put in age limits of if you're under 18, you have to be with a guardian the whole time. If you don't ruin that. We let our kids go off some.
Yep.
And we have that conversation with them. If you're ever at a Halloween Horror Nights and you see one of our children is not with us and they're acting like a fool, let us know.
Yeah.
We'll make sure that they no longer are.
Speaking of that, Donnie stopped us, which was super cool.
Yes.
Thank you for stopping us, Donnie.
Thank you for saying
nice
hello.
To meet you, and that was really cool. We were walking through, and all of a sudden I hear our theme song, and I was like, look over. I was like, oh, that's so cool.
It's the best.
So it was super fun.
Yeah, very nice to meet you.
So yeah,
we had an absolute blast. This is this is one of our yearly traditions now. We started in 2021. We always go with Rob and Tina.
Yep.
I think I'd posted about it. It's I started trick-or-treating with Rob when I was in the second grade.
Aww.
And now here we are, 45 years old, taking our children to Halloween Horror Nights. Is pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
So I think that's another reason that I just love it, but highly recommend you go.
Absolutely.
If you are getting ready to plan that next vacation, MEI-Travel is your trusted source for any vacation destination, and they are our preferred travel partner. Of course, your vacation planning services are always fee-free. Head to mainstmagic.com/travel for that no obligation quote today. Then, of course, hit that subscribe button, get the brand new episodes every Tuesday and Friday. Rhonda and myself also would be super thankful if you could go out and leave us a rating and review.
Because it helps our show grow.
That's all we've got. We'll see you real soon.
Jeremy and Rhonda are more than a little fond of Disney World, so they made this podcast to share it all with you. Reports and resorts, top 10 lists of all sorts. Main Street Magic's bringing it home for you.